Hey, Sleepy Sheepy here. Today I wanted to show a quick invasion. I'm going to be showcasing this build in full tomorrow, but I had a pretty good time in this particular fight and I thought it was kind of interesting. It was a nice combination of using consumables like these freezing pots as well as fist weapons against two builds that were pretty decent counters to fist weapons. There's also a slight issue with lag, at least at the beginning. You could see that first freezing pot comes out and lands, and then you see the damage comes out much later. So that was a bit scary, but that does kind of clear up as the fight continues. But the main issue here, I would say, with this particular invasion was just the range of my opponent's weapons and the fact that I'm trying to negotiate two long-range weapons simultaneously, especially when the Phantom there pulls out the Hand of Melania, which comes out very quickly and has a pretty insane range. So pair that with a Colossal Sword like the host has, and you've got two things that you kind of need to keep in mind of their position simultaneously in kind of a difficult way. So this invasion was also kind of interesting because it was essentially us just circling around these pillars. I definitely could have tried to drag them out into more PvE. That would have been a fine approach, but I felt like it was kind of an instance where it would be fun to take on the challenge of using just fist weapons and consumables against two builds that were fairly good counters to it. So the one aspect that's kind of on my side here is that I have very quick weapons, whereas the player with the Ultra Greatsword has a very slow weapon. So that's kind of one way that I do have an advantage. But the Phantom here does a lot of damage with their Hand of Melania. Based on the amount of damage they're outputting, I'm a little bit concerned that they're over leveled. But I am able to get some nice frost pots on them, which do stun lock immediately every time. So that is a common tactic against Melania in the boss fight, is when they go for the waterfowl dance to hit them with a freezing pot. So it actually felt kind of good to land one of those freezing pots on the opponent in this particular invasion during the waterfowl dance Ash of War. So my strategy here is essentially to just keep on chipping the Phantom. I feel like the skill level of the Phantom is definitely much higher, but the host is, still managing to land some hits on me. But I ideally would like to kill the Phantom first and just kind of, go for the host last, because I think that's kind of the more challenging way to approach this fight. And I am just kind of looking for openings in the kind of stamina range that I'm expecting for this Phantom, and eventually I do land a final hit there that ends up being pretty good, and it just ends up being a 1v1. And once they don't have the added pressure that the Phantom is adding, it's not too hard. But then here I make my fatal mistake. So they go for a big swing attack and I go for a backstab there, and I am successful, but the big mistake was that I gave them enough time to quit out. So here you can see that they've just completely lagged out, and for some reason it doesn't give me the connection error until just a little bit later. So I just wanted to post a video today and say what's up and show off this build that I'm going to be coming out with tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that, and yeah, I hope you have a good night.